Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.
हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू लुकमान आईएएस। लुकमान आईएएस की तरफ से आप सभी को गणेश चतुर्थी की शुभकामनाएं। टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू हैव द हिंदू एनालिसिस ऑफ 10th September 2021. Okay, let us see which are the important articles from today's The Hindu newspaper. These are the important articles. First of all, what we'll do is let us take overview of all these articles and then we'll discuss them one by one in detail. Okay, so first article, national security discourse is changing. On page number 6, this particular article, it talks about there are changes in the discourse on this topic, that is national security in US and some of the western countries, and it is also having some kind of impact on India's think tanks, we can say that, regarding the discourse on national security. So in first part the article is talking about the US reference to US and how US is changing this discourse and what is the situation in India and the way forward is given. So this is important from GS2 paper IR section, GS3 paper security part, as well as those who are having PSIR optional subject. This is also important. Then BRICS summit was, let's say, held. BRICS seeks inclusive intra-Afghan dialogue. So during this 13th BRICS summit, which was chaired by India, so our Prime Minister also addressed this summit. Along with that, the New Delhi declaration as a joint statement outcome of this BRICS summit. So what are the highlights of that statement? We are talking about BRICS here. So GS2 paper mains section IR international relations, as well as briefly we will have quick information basics about BRICS grouping or forum, that is important for prelims examination. Then specifically for prelims examination, India rankings 2021 are released by Ministry of Education under NIRF. Okay, so this is important from governance, education perspective, different rankings, indices, reports, they are important for prelims examination, right? This can be used in your essay paper also, the data related to these rankings. Then Thamirabarani civilization in Tamil Nadu is 3200 years old. So the new, we can say that, carbon data analysis regarding the excavations in Thamirabarani district of Tamil Nadu, it talks about the ancient civilization. So this is good news. We can understand that already we have rich ancient history in terms of, we can say, Indus Valley civilization, and now in Tamil Nadu this Thamirabarani civilization along with Vaigai river civilization, the excavations are also being done there. So it talks about the richness of human civilization on Indian soil, we can say. Then this can be asked in history part, prelims examination, we will look into the location also. Then production linked incentive scheme for textile sector is launched yesterday, and there is one editorial also, but the editorial is not that much important here, rather we should understand what is this particular scheme and how it is going to be important for textile sector, why it is unique, this new scheme. Fine. So let us go into details of all these articles. First article, national security discourse is changing. Now how it is changing, this is what is analyzed here in this article. In the first part, it is giving reference to US. In US, how this discourse on national security is changing, and then in second part it is talking about the situation in India, and the way forward is talking about the convergence in civilian and military aspects, right? So first of all, what we will understand here in introduction part, the writer is talking about there are 4 C's, the challenges that the world is facing at present in general, we can say, or US in specific. So which are these challenges? First is rising economic power and military power of China, first C. Then climate change is there, then there is counter terrorism is there, and then we can say that COVID pandemic. So you can use such keywords, unique terms in your essay paper also, or even your mains examination answers also. 4 C's. But simply you can draw like this, 4 C's like this. Which are these forces? Right. Now, after understanding these forces the world is facing, and because of these forces, there is change in the, we can say, national discourse on the national security. So, first of all, we'll analyze that from the US perspective. What is happening in US? So, basically, both the National Security Advisor to US President as well as Secretary of State in recent speeches have emphasized that the foreign policy is domestic policy and domestic policy is foreign policy. That means there is blurring of boundaries between the foreign policy and domestic policy for US now. At the same time, what we have to understand here is that national security requirement for today's strategic environment is different than that of Cold War era. This is for US we are talking. Now, what are these requirements? So, during the Cold War era, what were the requirements? We can simply understand here that having the bombers, or we can say planes, or overseas military bases, or we can say naval fleets, strong naval fleets, right. So, all these during the Cold War era acted as a deterrence, or we can say strength. So, this was required for national security at that time. This was the response, we can say. However, at present the challenges are different, and accordingly the requirement are also different, or we can say response needs to be different. What kind of response today we require to deal with this challenge? The response, today's response, we can say, for US we are talking here. For today's response, first we can say that here strengthening economy. Second, we can say that resilience in supply chains, critical supply chains, we can say. Okay, resilience is required in that. The third aspect is, we can say that protecting critical infrastructure, from cyber attacks, and there needs to be some sense of urgency, or we can say that responding to climate change with sense of urgency. Now, this is very important. In this manner, whatever the requirements were there during the Cold War era, this is now changed. Okay, at present the US is facing the challenges in terms of, we can say, economic crisis is going on. There is also the climate change problem is there, or the terrorism threats are also there. Along with that, the social aspect, that is the racial discrimination, and to some extent it is affecting the human rights also, right. And cyber attacks is now the new warfare era, or we can say new ground for warfare, right. So, in this manner we should understand the new requirements and the response to deal with these challenges. Now, after understanding the US example, what is the situation in India? The situation in India says that, first thing, COVID-19 pandemic has revealed the dependence that India had on Chinese manufacturing sector, that is for especially for critical supplies. Okay, so for example, during the first phase or first lockdown time, first wave of COVID-19, we can say. So, what happened at that time? Whatever the APIs that are required for manufacturing, for pharma sector, so around 60 to 65% they were imported from China only, and that affected our independence in terms of pharmaceutical production. Okay, so this affected our response to COVID-19 pandemic, right. So, first aspect. So, this reveals that our dependence on any other country in terms of some critical supplies, this needs to be dealt here. This is, we can say, national security challenge. Second is the LAC standoff between India and China in last 1 year that we are witnessing, right? So this has also exposed our vulnerabilities, because immediately after that LAC standoff, government had to take certain strict decisions in terms of economic sanctions, and the imports from China were banned, investment from China were restricted. So this to some extent affected our economy also, because the trade between India and China is hugely skewed towards China, right? So for that purpose, what we are doing now is focusing on self-reliance, Atmanirbhar Abhiyan. That's why it was launched immediately last year after pandemic. At the same time, we are focusing on making our economy more resilient. Okay, yes. Now, there was, let's say, the view of Indian Army Chief, and he is saying that the security or the national security is not only related to defense security. Rather, the security has various aspects. National security, we can say. National security has various aspects, and one of them is, we can say, defense. Defense from external sector as well as internal, we can say, non-state actors. Now, national security has various angles, like economic security is there. Okay, economic security. Then we can also say food security, or we can say information security, or even we can say environment security. Environment security, or we can also say that in terms of yes, cyber security. Right. So basically, national security should be looked into the government, all of the government approach, and not only as a part of defense security. This is very important, because now the scope of national security is expanding and entering into other areas, and not only along the borders of the country, right? So in this manner, we should understand the wordings of Indian Army Chief here. Now, investment in armed forces, as a way forward, we should understand that investment in armed forces contributes to the national economy too. So basically, the Army Chief, or we can say Army Chief, is of the view that there is need of synergy between civilian and military aspects, especially in terms of economy. Okay, so what kind of synergy we can expect? Basically, we can understand that investment in armed forces. Now we know that investment first in DRDO, suppose, right? So for research and development. So whatever the research and development or innovation in terms of technology has been done in the defense technology, so this has been used for the civilian purpose also. Surely it is going to benefit for economy. The second aspect is that any kind of investment will boost indigenation or indigenous industries, and thereby economic growth will happen. Because what will happen, indigenization of defense technology or whatever the arms and ammunition that is to be up till now was being imported, now that can be produced in the country itself, and that will be sourced from the domestic industry, right? So this is going to make ourselves self-reliant here in terms of having the defense equipments. The third benefit we can talk about the humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, HADR. You can use this term in your answer. Humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, that always the armed forces are at forefront in these two aspects, and this to some extent helps in protecting infrastructure, protecting human life, ultimately it is contributing to the national security, or in terms of economic security, security to the infrastructure. Okay, so ultimately it is contributing to Indian national economy. Okay, so we can talk about that here onwards. Even the present Indian government is all focusing on investment in defense sector and indigenization of defense sector, right? So in this manner we can talk about this particular topic. What kind of question we can expect? Simply a line: global discourse on national security is changing and India should also align itself to this change. Comment. Okay, so whatever the discussion we had, you can give the reference of US and then you can talk about India also. Yes. Next article. 13th BRICS summit was held online or virtually, and New Delhi declaration as a joint statement was released as an outcome of this 13th BRICS summit. Okay, so it called for an inclusive intra-Afghan dialogue for stability in Afghanistan. Use these words as it is, they should be used because this is part of this joint statement. Okay, so inclusive intra-Afghan dialogue for stability. At the same time, we should understand this summit was chaired by India this year. This we can talk about. Yes, we have also adopted the BRICS counter terrorism action plan. Oh, okay, so negotiations were going on and now the BRICS counter terrorism action plan is adopted by the forum here, with the agreement on remote sensing satellite constellation between our space agencies. This is also new development. Remember this agreement on remote sensing satellite constellation between our space agencies, the space agencies of these 5 countries. Then BRICS leaders called for settling the situation by peaceful means in Afghanistan, condemned the terrorist attacks at Hamid Karzai International Airport, which killed at least 100 persons, including several US military personnel. At the same time, they stressed on contributing to fostering an inclusive intra-Afghan dialogue so as to ensure stability, peace, law and order in the country. Also the priority for fighting terrorism. At the same time, they also talked about, let's say that Afghan territory should not be used as a safe haven for terrorist organization. Finally, the document also addressed the humanitarian situation in Afghanistan and urged the need to uphold rights of women, children and minorities in Afghanistan. Okay, so these are the important highlights of this joint statement. It will be called as New Delhi Declaration. Okay, yes. So this can be a follow up to your IR notes, international relations, right? So this month we are going to have such 3 visits or 3 important events. This first one happened now, BRICS summit. Second, there will be SCO summit also, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and there will be third one, India's Prime Minister visit to US, where there can be, let's say, bilateral visit with the US President. Then there will be Quad summit also. At the same time, our Prime Minister will address UNGA, United Nations General Assembly, right? So we are having follow up here, so you can make these notes. Now basics about BRICS, yes, this will be revision to you. Already we are discussing this many a times. Now BRICS grouping name is the acronym given for each, let's say, country: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Initially in 2009, when the first, let's say, summit took place, it was called BRIC. The first summit, Russian Federation, happened in Russian Federation. Then in 2010, South Africa joined in, and now the grouping was called BRICS. Basically every year from that year, Leaders Summit is held here. So it is held annually. At the same time, we should understand that the chairmanship or presidentship of this grouping rotates annually according to the acronym of BRIC. Okay, so remember this also. Now BRICS nations signed BRICS CRA, Contingent Reserve Agreement, during the Fortaleza Declaration or Fortaleza Summit in 2014, 6th BRICS Summit we can say. What is this contingent reserve arrangement? This aims to, we can say, provide liquidity, short-term liquidity support to the members through currency swaps to help mitigate balance of payment crisis situation and further strengthen financial stability. So basically it is to prevent any kind of BOP crisis, balance of payment crisis, that earlier we had during 1990s, right? So yes. Initial total committed resource for CRA shall be $100 billion. Okay. Now, at the same time, Fortaleza declaration led to formation of new development bank also. Okay. So, 6th BRICS summit in Fortaleza, the leaders signed agreement to establish this new development bank also. And the headquarters of BRICS is, headquarters of NDB, is in Shanghai. There is no specific headquarter for this BRICS forum, we can say. Rather, for this bank, the headquarter is in Shanghai. Fine. Now, IIT top centers ranking for 2021. We are talking about India rankings released by Ministry of Education under NIRF, National Institutional Ranking Framework. Brief background about NIRF: it was launched during the September 2015, and it includes the parameters such as teaching learning resources, research and professional practices, graduation outcomes, outreach and inclusivity, and perception. These are the parameters on which this ranking is done for the institution. Overall higher educational institution ranking, this top 10, 7 IITs are included in that top 10. First one, IIT Madras, for consecutively 3 years, it has topped the list, IIT Madras. Then there is second, IISc Bangalore. Third is, we can say that IIT Bombay, then IIT Delhi, IIT Kanpur, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Roorkee, then IIT Guwahati, then JNU Delhi and BHU Varanasi. These universities are also part of top 10 here, but 9th and 10th. Okay. In terms of universities, IISCs was ranked first, followed by JNU and BHU. In terms of management institute, IIMs like IIM Ahmedabad ranked first, followed by IIMB Bangalore, IIMC, IIM Calcutta. So just you can remember this can be asked as a miscellaneous part of education sector. You can use this in mains examination, essay paper also, how our higher educational institutions are faring, right? So yes, you can use that for international comparison in terms of international institutions and universities also. Okay, it is about higher education institutions. Excuse me. Yes, fine. Now, moving on. Yes, Thamirabarani civilization 3200 years old. Now, one of the report by carbon dating laboratory based in Miami. Okay, so it has said that this particular civilization dates back to 1155 BC, indicating this civilization dates back to 3200 years. Okay, so this is located in Shivakalai in Thuttukudi district, Thuttukudi district in southern Tamil Nadu. You can see here, this is map of Tamil Nadu and this is that district location. Okay, southern Tamil Nadu. Right. Now, encouraged by this finding, Tamil Nadu CM recently announced in the assembly the establishment of Porunai Museum in Tirunelveli at the cost of 15. Now, this Thamirabarani civilization is also called as Porunai River civilization. Okay, so Porunai River, along the Porunai River, this civilization was there. Tamil Nadu also has another important civilization where the excavations are being done, that is Vaigai River civilization. Okay, and this civilization is necessarily urban in character like IBC. Okay, and the dating of the let's say artifacts that are found here through the excavation, they are dating back to the same age, that is bronze age of, we can say that, IVC. Okay, bronze era or bronze age, that time we can say similar to IVC, Indus Valley civilization. Fine. So this can be asked in prelims examination. Now, production linked incentive scheme for textiles, right? So now this scheme was launched yesterday for textile sector. First of all, you should understand that this is to promote production of high value man-made fabric, garments and technical textiles in the country. That is, it is not focused on cotton textile, not focused on cotton textile. At the world level, man-made fibers, that is synthetic fibers. We are talking about synthetic fibers. For example, rayon, acrylic, right? So basically the rayon is very important man-made fibers. So similar manner synthetic fibers are being produced and consumed. At the world level, around 70% of market is for this man-made fabric and only 30% for pure cotton, right? So there is also blending of cotton with synthetic fiber, we can say that. Now in India, the dominance is of cotton textile and less of this man-made fabric, and therefore the focus of the government is to promote this and the exports of this fabric, right? So this is important. Export oriented promotion is being done largely, we can say, right? It will also create additional employment of 7.5 lakh people directly and several lakhs more for supporting activities. Fine. So the incentives worth 10,683 crore rupees will be provided over the next 5 years under this scheme. Remember, man-made fabric, garments and technical textiles in the country. Okay. Fine. So these were important articles. Thank you.
Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.